Hi, I'm Gabriel of Elite Performance. Today we're going to be talking about squats, an analytical approach, and point out the mechanical flaws and corrections that I'll be doing with my clients on a day-to-day basis.
We always got to make sure these knees are behind the toes. That's really important. There you go. There you go. Now this is without weight. Actually the form is a little bit easier when you have a barbell.
So thanks to Sabrina and David for demonstrating the squat from the side view. So I hope you can pick up a thing or two from eyeballing their movements. Hopefully you can tell me what's wrong or at least what's right, and we'll continue to discuss it over the next few slides. Next up, we'll be discussing about the joints that I'm going to be drawing all over Sabrina. So in this case, that we have a circle in the middle of her face, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, and toes. So this will be the reference point that I'll be using for this entire analysis. Okay, phase 2 of my train of thought. We're going to be talking about the alignment, which is basically a line that's drawn from joint to joint. In this case here, we have one from the hip to the shoulders, right? So this is meant for the spinal alignment, and we can tell that one of the joints is out of place, which we'll discuss in the next phase of my analysis. And these other lines here from the hip to the knees is for the thighs, knees to ankle for the shin, ankle to the toes for the foot. Okay, next up will be the corrections that I'll recommend if Sabrina were to be my client. I'll be drawing a line from the shoulders to the head to illustrate that how much her neck is extending. And she's looking somewhere quite far ahead of her because she's trying to look forward, right, instead of looking down. But I'll recommend something like 90 degrees in relation to your torso is where you're going to be looking down towards the floor. So usually it's about 6 feet in front of you, right? So this is meant to make sure that your head is in line with your torso. Okay, this is the 6 feet distance that I was recommending if her torso were to be in line, especially with her head, right? And next up, David's hand is actually limiting Sabrina from moving her knees forward. That's actually a no-no. I would recommend that the knees travel much more further forward, freely over the toes, that is, right? Otherwise, she'll be falling backwards because the center of gravity is actually heavier onto the back than to the front. So the other thing I would like to point out is that the hip angle is bending a lot more than the knee angle, which means this is actually a hip hinge and not a knee hinge. So in other words, this is actually a deadlift and not a squat. Because a squat, it's a movement that originates from the hip, yes, but the knees are bent at an equal rate as the hips, so that both thighs and bum get equal stimulus. And with the position that Sabrina is in, if she were to extend her arms down, which her hands will probably reach somewhere here below the kneecap and somewhere in the mid shin, it's exactly what a deadlift should look like. After going through those corrections and recommendations that I think is appropriate, given that David is supposed to be coaching Sabrina to do a squat, I'd like you to give me your feedback and comment whatever you think Sabrina should be doing or shouldn't be doing, and we'll discuss things over. In the next video, we're going to be revising another ladies demonstration for sumo squats and see from a different perspective, in this case from a front view.
So those feet sink down into your squat. So really deep, same rules. Keep your back flat, your gaze up, press up through your heels. You're going to feel this one on the outside of your thighs as well as your glutes. Nice and easy so far, right? Just wait till the next intervals. If you need to stop.
Next up, we have Kelly demonstrating the sumo squats from the front. So with a different view, we can look for different things, especially from the front. It's more of a left and right bias or discrepancy of each limb, pressure, center of gravity, and weight distribution. We'll be going through the same train of thought with the next 3 slides coming up. Starting with phase 1 again, we're going to be talking about the joints that's going to be drawn all over Kelly, like how we break down Sabrina's movement earlier on. So these are the circles that will indicate where the joint position are, with the toes, ankles, knees, belly button, shoulders, and the middle of the face, indicating different positions for different joints. Stage 2, my thought process. We'll be talking about the alignment again, like how I break down Sabrina's movement earlier on. With the one that I can see right is the left knee to left ankle for the shin, left ankle to left toe for the foot. And the next one I want to point out is that this line from heel to heel, it'll be my reference line to see if the floor is level or if the camera is off center. This is the baseline that will lead to other conclusions or what I can pick up based on Kelly's position right now. Let's jump into it for stage 3, or what we are here for, right? Is the corrections. So like from here we can see that this line from her belly button to the middle of her face with a red line here indicates that her spine is actually leaning to the left, or her trunk that is, so which means that she has a little bit more weight on the left foot than the right. This could be because she is left leg dominant, or she has some sort of injury on the right leg, which means that she doesn't want to put as much pressure on the right foot. Okay, and I'll recommend that she actually moves her shoulders and hips to the right to evenly distribute the pressure, or at least the weight distribution, equally across both foot, so that both muscles can develop equally without any bias or discrepancy in strength later on, as this might actually travel up through the spine with back aches or imbalances in the shoulders and stuff. So next up, like what I was telling you about, was the shoulder is a little bit uneven. Like from here, we probably can see that the right shoulder is lower than the left shoulder. This could be because she's right-handed, that's one. It's anteriorly rotated forward or slouching forward, which means that she's right-handed. Yeah, so this is very common with people that are right-handed, especially if you are a desk-bound jockey, keyboard warriors kind of thing, where you reach out with your right hand to reach out for the mouse, so your right shoulder is always rolling forward, more so than the left side. So in this case, I'll use the left side as the good side rather than the left side that is hiking upwards. The other thing that I would like to point out is that her right foot is externally rotated more so than the left foot. I can see that because her right foot is pointing more outwards than her left, which is pointing more forward. Right? If you were to look it from the back, you can probably count there's more toes from the back view rather than the left. So that will conclude whatever I've come up with this analysis, and I hope that you can give me some sort of feedback, or at least discuss things over and brainstorm, why not?